Hello. This is the final installment in our video series about the Medicare for All bill that's been introduced into the House of Representatives. Today, some conclusions and overall thoughts. Let's begin by understanding that what we all want with healthcare in this country is three things: coverage, everybody having access; cost control or affordability; and quality. And quality really means both clinical quality and access to that care and that quality. The problem we're running into, and the problem we've run into for the last 6 decades, is that you can have two of the three, but not all three. And how do we create that balance? What this bill does is it definitely improves coverage. Everyone would have access to free care. Coverage would be 100%. The question that comes to my mind is, but at what harm to cost and/or quality? That remains to be seen. I'm an economist by training, and economists love to use the phrase ceteris paribus, all other things being equal, where we can control other variables and just play around with one variable. The problem is real world doesn't work that way. When you touch one variable, other things are impacted by it. In other words, if you push on one end of the balloon, the other end of the balloon goes up. And I bring this up because I think we need to start talking about what happens if we give this kind of coverage and free healthcare. What happens to the other parts of that balloon? What happens to cost and quality? Those are big questions. One of the big failings in this bill, from my perspective, is it has no information about how it's going to be paid for. It has no information about how providers are going to get paid. There's a lot of the money part of this, which is important. We're talking about over $3 trillion a year of spend that is completely absent in the bill. Another concern that I have for the bill is a political one, and I'm not saying pro or con one party or the other. This is an observation. This bill could become the Democrats' wall. What I mean by that is we could see so many presidential candidates and congressional candidates lining up behind this that if they get elected, they're going to have to produce. Whether they believe in it or not, much like the current administration feels like it has to build a wall because it promised it. What happens if a new administration promised Medicare for all and then figures out we can't afford it? Look, I understand the current system is complex and it's broken. I don't think there's any argument there. It needs to be fixed. But in my opinion, there's not going to be an easy fix, a simple Medicare for all or a simple solution. It's going to be a bunch of very complex small fixes. This bill is not the answer. It's not even close to the answer. And in some ways, the cure may be worse than the disease. We could do something here that causes irreparable damage to our current system. What if we do this and we end up with an incredible shortage of physicians and hospitals fail? And yeah, we all have a Medicare free for all card, but nobody willing to take it. What do we look like then? So I'll leave you with these final thoughts. P.J. O'Rourke has a wonderful quote that says, "If you think healthcare is expensive now, wait till it's free." The movie The Big Short has a wonderful line in it that says, "The truth is like poetry." Unfortunately, most people hate poetry. What I mean by that is it's hard to wrap your mind around. It's hard to really think about how complex and how hard these solutions are going to be. That's the truth of the matter. And we're going to have to stop hating that truth and start dealing with it. And finally, I'll leave you with another quote. And this one actually comes from me. I was in a seminar or a meeting with a bunch of folks, and we were talking about healthcare solutions and answers. And somebody suggested this idea of free healthcare for everybody. And without thinking about it, my response was, fixing healthcare costs with free healthcare for everyone is like trying to cure alcoholism with an open bar. It just doesn't make sense. So hopefully, if anything good comes out of all this discussion, it will be that we'll start to have an honest, in-depth conversation about how to fix our problems. If not, we could find ourselves waking up one morning with a much worse situation than we have today. Thank you for your time and for watching these videos.